Why did my predators get away? Because nobody that I went to for help took me seriously. They took me so not seriously that every time that I tried to speak before Natalie was killed, I would get interrupted and fucking snapped at. Not every time was it getting snapped at, but every time I was getting interrupted. Some of my predators got away because I felt bad for them. Some of my predators got away because I cared about them. They were my friends and I didn't want them getting in trouble. Derek Parrish, when he assaulted me over some bullshit with him and Joanna Taylor, didn't have nothing to do with me. I went there for help. Instead of getting help, within maybe an hour and a half of being there, Derek and JoJo get into an argument and he decides he's going to take it out on me. Now, my words don't come out perfectly because he being a fucking dickhead. I'm sorry that while I'm stressed, my words don't come up 100% fucking perfect for you bitches. Derek, you're a bitch, straight up. He spent 3 goddamn days treating me like shit because my words didn't come together fucking perfect. So he used that as a goddamn excuse for 3 goddamn days to treat me like fucking shit. It's got nothing to do with me, Derek. That's between you and fucking JoJo. Take it out on JoJo. Here's some idiot types the Church of Four. And he typed 4. Imagine that. My predators got away because of the term mentally ill. My predators got away because those people who pretended that they were my friends weren't my friends enough to speak up at all. See, while there were people that I went to for help before Natalie died, they didn't fucking speak up. Joanna Taylor should have spoken up, but she wants to be friends with my predators. She's dating one of my predators, for Christ's sake. There was no reason for Derek to fucking assault me to begin with. There was no reason for Derek to take it out on me to begin with. He took it out on me because it was easy. While people who didn't know a goddamn thing about what was going on were not only putting their 2 cents in, but also physically harming me, and you didn't say a goddamn thing. Then you wanted to be pissed off when I recorded the truth that you should have fucking told a long goddamn time ago. If these supposedly good people worked 1/10 as hard as the people who fucking hate me over this slander, it would have made a fucking difference. But a closed mouth don't get fed. My predators were allowed to speak. I was called mentally ill and prevented from speaking. They loosely translated it as what? Schizophrenic. They pushed that and pushed that and fucking pushed that. And not one of these supposedly good people who cared about me ever fucking came forward. To this day, none of them have come forward. To this day, not one of the people who claimed that they did has any proof or has even made any efforts to provide any proof that they did so. It's just their word versus the police. And it's not like, well, the police get to speak. The police weren't there for any of it. except to cover up their fuck ups. These predators got away because the people who hated me, who weren't there for any of it, who wanted to harm me over slander, were doing so and continue to do so, while people like Brandon Ratner, still after 3 goddamn years of abuse, he's got fucking writer's block. I'm hoping that he shows up sometime this week. He said he was gonna. I'm hoping that he can bring Ventus up here. I'm angry because Brandon isn't saying these things to the courts. He's not filling out this paperwork. He's not busy telling these people the truth. There are a lot of people who are my predators, like Katie Whiteman. Katie Whiteman didn't have nothing to do with any of it. What she had to do with was treating me like shit and slandering me to the American public. Afterwards, rather than admit that she fucked up, that she did something wrong, she wanted to be a complete and total cunt to me. Now, meanwhile, there's this young woman that I went to for help named Chelsea Worsing. Chelsea Worsing is somebody who should be heard. Why should Chelsea Worsing have been heard and not Katie Whiteman? Because Katie Whiteman wasn't a fucking witness to any of it. She was just a goddamn piece of shit who wanted to take it out on somebody. By the way, Katie Whiteman is a female and a black person. Chelsea Worsing is female and a white person. Chelsea is autistic, so she can at least understand part of it. Chelsea is somebody who I went to for help. But Chelsea never fucking spoke up because she wants to be friends with Katie Whiteman, who has a history of fucking stabbing every goddamn person down there in the back. I was never mean to fucking Katie, but goddamn, she was fucking cruel to me, wasn't she? You goddamn right she was. And none of you got in any fucking trouble for the illegal shit that you fucking did. You did evil shit because you didn't want to find out what the fucking truth was. You didn't want to look at both sides. You just wanted someone to punish. And that happened for an entire year before Natalie fucking died. But I got to go to pigs, not police officers. There's no such thing as a decent officer. They're all pigs. My predators got away with it because none of my witnesses fucking spoke up. If they'd have spoke up, it would have made all the fucking difference in the world. But they let these people do this to me. Brandon let these people do this to me by not going in with me. Miss Peaches let these people do this to me by not going in with me. And when I wasn't able to do what it is that these pieces of shit wanted me to do, when I didn't have the money because I had spent it all on jumping through fucking hoops, when I didn't have internet access, when I didn't have any of the things that I needed to do in order to defend myself, in order to fucking protect myself against predators, and the police didn't give a holy fucking shit. Brandon Ratner can blow smoke up my ass to this day, but he can't write a goddamn police report. If you love somebody and they're being harmed and you say you're fucking sorry, you don't love them, you don't give a shit about them. Why is that? Because rather than doing something about it, you say you're sorry. Your sorry is a fucking excuse. It is a sorry fucking excuse. It's all right, though. You call me mentally ill, and it's all right to beat me up. You call me mentally ill, and it's all right to threaten my life with a gun. You call me mentally ill, and it's okay to threaten my friends and family. My predators got away because nobody fucking cared. Not one of these people who was blowing smoke up my ass to this day has ever come forward. And some of y'all who've seen the videos have made comments like, well, Brandon came forward. I heard the video. No, Brandon didn't come forward. He didn't come forward. He has zero proof that he came forward. He did not come forward with me because he spoke on my channel. I recorded it. I recorded a conversation with us, several of them, and I posted them up. Him speaking and being on my Facebook channel is not the same as coming forward. You need to come forward in fucking court. See, while my predators have been victimizing me for 4 years straight and playing fucking victim, those of you who know fucking better have proven how fucking selfish that you are, how much you don't actually care. If I had a choice right now between getting laid and saving someone's life, I would never, ever choose getting laid. If somebody is in fucking dire hell and their life is at fucking risk, I'm not going to make excuses for 7 goddamn months. When that little girl was dragged through the house at Sally Treon's and kicked in the goddamn face, it didn't take me 20 minutes to get a hold of someone. But because of the term mentally ill, I can't go to the police. So I had to call Miss Jerry, who didn't do jack shit. Then there's situations where a lot of you fucking idiots, when you did something fucked up and you got busted fucking lying, you want to tell me not to talk to people. Yep, that's going to work out well. Why don't I listen to you when you tell me not to talk to somebody? Like with Miss Jerry when she tells me not to talk to Jenny. Because Jenny never said not to talk to her. Jenny said if there was a problem to give her a call. I gave her a call and she fucking ignored me. So I stopped trying. Miss Jerry wanted to fucking play it off like I assaulted her daughter. She's like, you attacked my daughter. No, I didn't attack your daughter. I asked her to fucking kill me. Just like I asked you when you fucking stabbed me in the back. When you didn't keep your word. When you fucking lied to me and didn't care. When I needed a friend the most, you fucking stabbed me in the goddamn back. When it comes to you not wanting to talk to somebody, maybe you should tell them that. There have been over a dozen situations where people told me not to talk to somebody, and that person, like with Ryan and his wife, Rihanna, I'd known Rihanna at least a decade longer than Ryan, but he's married to her, right? He told me Rihanna didn't want to talk to me, and Rihanna called me up. She was like, I didn't say that. Of course, later on, it turned into a giant goddamn hell nest, didn't it? Then there's people who are victims in Colorado who continually move around because they're trying to escape the abuse as well. One of these ladies, her name is Mariah. God, I can't remember right now. Anyway, Mariah was going to help me. Right before Natalie died, Ben Harvey died. He froze to death. He didn't want to get a camping ticket for using a blanket, so he froze to death. Well, that's how me and Mariah became sort of friends. But obviously, we were only friends for 2 days, because 2 days later, that shit with Natalie happened. And when that shit with Natalie happened, Mariah went fucking complete and total hate monger on me. She was one of the few people who, after Natalie was found, or after her killer was caught, rather, she was one of the few people who apologized for what she had done. Later on, she had been telling me about her abusive ex, and later on, she went back to him. Y'all know how that story's gonna go, don't you? Yeah. The part that you were expecting next, yes, that happened next. Her ex perpetrated again, yes. But he also got a hold of her phone, and it was completely out of character for the things that she was typing. Like, hold on a second, this is not the kind of shit that Mariah's going to type. Turns out it was her abusive ex who was pretending to be her and being a complete and total douche about it. She later got a hold of me and explained the situation. There have been a lot of situations like that. There's been a lot of situations where people told me not to talk to somebody, and that somebody wanted to talk to me. But you think that it is your right and your place to control that person and who they can be friends with and who they can talk to and who they can speak up for. Brianna did not deserve to be victimized by her husband for trying to do the right thing. Neither did I. I understand that she's an alcoholic. She's dead now, so it doesn't matter, does it? Brianna's dead. A lot of people who were my perpetrators wanted to tell me that I couldn't talk to my friends, wanted to separate me from my friends, my loved ones. For an entire year before Natalie died, an entire year going to Boulder was abusive. I mean, here's the thing is that I hung out with a lot of homeless adults, but there was always a lot of fucking kids down there fucking around. I shouldn't have had to look out for those kids. Those police should have been doing so. I shouldn't have had to look out for those kids. Their parents should have been doing so. Did I have to look out for those kids? Fuck no, I didn't. For the most part, I was looking out for the adults. I was looking out for the homeless people who were most likely to get fucking victimized just because those kids fucking exist in the area that they exist in. I tried to encourage a lot of the adult homeless people not to hang out at the library. I told them, hey, the library is full of fucking meth heads and it's full of kids. And they're mixing. It's not a good fucking thing. A lot of people told me, don't talk to my girlfriend. Well, hey, I'm friends with your girlfriend. Your girlfriend didn't want to talk to me. She'll tell me that she didn't want to talk to me. Now, the fact that your girlfriend dumped your ass after she found out that you did that shows that maybe you should speak for yourself and allow her to speak for herself. A lot of people wanted to threaten my life over Natalie, wanted to harass me over Natalie, wanted to threaten me. And this is before she was fucking dead. And you guys go, oh, well, you harassed her and fucking stalked her for a whole year. Like hell I did. There was no fucking stalking involved. Not towards her anyway, not from me. Tim Beeson was her stalker. Take it out on him. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm not worth listening to. The media is not held responsible for any of the harm that was caused because they didn't bother to find out the truth of the matter. They did not bother to find out if the bullshit that they were selling to the public was true. To this day, they don't fucking care. To this day, I have been blackballed by the media. And yeah, this whole time I should have been killing people, according to Candace Bondurant and many other people. Many other people who stabbed me in the goddamn back after they did fucked up shit to me. They wanted to hide it. They wanted to do everything in their power that they could to destroy my fucking life. Candace Bondurant intentionally went out of her way to destroy my life. After claiming that she loved me, after claiming that she would help me, went out of her way to be helpful to my goddamn predators. Meanwhile, you guys think that I'm allowed to do all this shit that I'm not allowed to do. They call me mentally ill and then right the fucking denied. Right to an investigation, denied. Right to face my accusers, denied. Right to write a fucking police report, denied. Right to actual legal counsel, denied. Right to fire my lawyer, denied. Right to a jury, denied. My right to show evidence, denied. When you're called mentally ill, you have no rights. My predators got away with doing whatever they wanted because to this day, the cops make excuses. How many times have I gone to these goddamn pigs? And how many times have they done the goddamn thing about it? They are fucking lip service, and that is all. Scott DaCosta betrayed my trust and destroyed any chance that I will ever believe him when he let Officer Hahn go. In order for me to be able to defend myself, I have to get these son of a bitches in court. And they can explain why, even though they had body cameras, they turned them the fuck off repeatedly. They can explain why, when I went in repeatedly to do as they asked, I was repeatedly harmed for it. Antarctype, what is going on here? I've been through 4 years of hell because I'm autistic. And police and my predators have taken advantage of that for 4 goddamn years. For 4 goddamn years, I've been speaking out. For 4 goddamn years. I have the right to face my accusers. But those rights, they don't exist when you are assaulted for trying to turn them in. People want to tell me how lucky I am to be abused every goddamn day. How lucky I am to be fucking secluded. How lucky I am. How lucky I am. How fucking lucky I am. I am not fucking lucky, you son of a bitch. People keep saying they're sorry. Sorry don't fix it. Between you speaking up and you saying you're sorry, sorry doesn't fucking help. And a lot of you guys who see my channel that type sorry, I get it. That's not directed at you. You weren't involved in the situation. I didn't go to you for help, but I am now. That's explicitly and exclusively what my channel is for. It's for fucking speaking out. It's for helping the victims. It's for finding missing people. It's for telling the victim's stories. These people pretended that I could not ever possibly be a victim. Meanwhile, statistically, I am the most likely to be victimized in this country. I'm disabled and homeless. My physical disabilities are actual disabilities. My mental disabilities are not. My mental disabilities are all chalked down to the way that you treat people that you have pegged as mentally ill. When you're pegged as mentally ill, you have to let people hurt you. That is what it means to be tagged as mentally ill. You are permanently a victim, and there's not a goddamn thing you can do about it. Somebody else has to. But there was nobody there for me. Miss Peaches was not there for me. She was full of shit. Miss Peaches did a lot for me. She really did. Those appointments that I went to, Miss Peaches helped me set those up. She took me to those appointments. But you know what? She didn't show up in court like she promised that she would. And guess what? As a result, she didn't speak. And those officers and those Bollingers got to slander my name and get away with it because Peaches didn't show up. Why didn't Peaches show up? What was her excuse for not showing up? I wrote her a letter. Her excuse for not reading the letter was that she took it to work and it rained and it ruined the letter, so she didn't read it. Maybe that's true. Maybe that ain't. But if you ain't saying it in court, then you're fucking lying to me. And that's the way that it is in my mind. Why? Because so many people have done that. So many people have done exactly that. Don't fucking lie to me and then pretend that I'm a villain after a fucking year and a half of your fucking bullshit. After a year and a half of fucking abuse. And now it's 4 years of abuse. 4 years of abuse since the first time that I went to Miss Peaches. Now, she didn't speak up in court. None of them spoke up in court. Not one. All of the things that they should have said in court, I recorded later in conversations from exile. Those things that if they'd have said them in court would have made a difference. And I had to record them well after they should have fucking spoken up. And Hark typed, "Oh, sorry to hear that, man. That really isn't okay. Glad to see you're speaking about it. No, man, I really am. My auntie is in a similar situation. This is so bad. You need to find a popular outlet to speak about this. I've been working on it. I've also been harassed, threatened, assaulted. Fucking people have been using social media outlets to make me a target for, well, about 4 years now. My predators work together. People who weren't there for any of it were harming me as if I were guilty. The police didn't give a shit. The police took part in it. And it's Boulder. Why would you expect the police to do anything otherwise when it comes to a homeless person? Look how they treated Zaid Atkinson because they assumed he was fucking homeless. If he'd have been a clean cut black person, nice hair, nice clothes, he wouldn't have been targeted. Boulder police are scared shitless of arresting a black person who might be a starter on the football team. Imagine that. Kind of like Lodgepole. When I went to school there, nobody seemed to give a fuck about an education. All they cared about was football. Dylan Bauer, Dylan Bauer, Dylan Bauer. I remember because I went there the first day of school, and my first day of school was when I met Dylan Bauer. One of the teachers had walked by him, asked him if he was going to block another punt this year. Yeah, you block a punt in football, and people will talk about it for years. Strangely, Dylan didn't turn into one of those guys whose entire life revolves around retelling that story of the time that he blocked a punt. The man turned into a decent dude. And all this stuff that I needed help with. People wanted to treat me like shit because I was asking for help, treating me like I should automatically know how to do those things because I'm smart. It's kind of like thinking that as soon as somebody reaches 50 years old, they're automatically a nuclear physicist. That's fucking stupid. A lot of these youngins, they know how to do stuff with computers, and they know how to do stuff with phones that I still don't know how to do. So they've got the advantage. A lot of these youngins, they want to talk about change, but then they're not changing anything by getting violent. They're not changing anything by, well, you see the younger generation, what they're doing. The things that they're speaking up about, are things need to be done about. The younger generation is doing the right thing as far as that goes. But what the younger generation is doing wrong is an incredible amount of violence. See, what these younger folks are doing is that they're refusing to listen to anybody. They're refusing to believe that anybody else could be fucking right. They're also refusing to treat others as human beings. While you're complaining, your complaints are fucking valid. Your complaints about how people are being treated this day and age are valid. But also, you're being the perpetrators towards people that you assume are the bad guys. The younger generation can fact check all they want. The younger generation looks stuff up on their fucking flip phone, whereas you at 50 years old, you got that thing in your pocket. You can't figure something out. For some odd reason, it's not registering to you that you can get that out of your phone right there. The younger generation knows it, they use it, it occurs to them frequently. Of course, with you, you didn't get a smartphone because they didn't exist until you were in your 40s or 50s. Hell, I know people who had the telephone removed from their house about a decade ago, and they still walk to where they used to have one of them old phones on the wall with the cord. After 10 years, they still, on occasion, walk to that thing on the wall, and it's no longer there. Oh, yeah, I got rid of that. When I needed people to speak up, they didn't. They wanted to hide from the very start. They were embarrassed and ashamed. See, that's the thing. You tell the right lie, the dude doesn't get an honest day in court. People say that I gotta take this up in civil court. Excuse me. See, here's part of the way that they're getting away with this shit. They want to separate it. Well, this is criminal court. This is civil court. Well, why do I have to go to civil court for that when they committed a criminal act? Well, that's not a criminal act. That's a civil thing. You have to take it out in civil court. Really? If I commit that crime, you're going to charge me as a criminal. You're not going to charge me in civil court. You're going to charge me in criminal court. That's not the way it is. Really? Watch this. I'm not just telling you what's broken with the fucking system. I am showing you. Let's see. Antark typed and get your story heard. YH, I agree. My friends, they wanted to procrastinate and procrastinate and procrastinate and do nothing. They couldn't spend the time to listen to me if I was there in person. And it takes me a lot of resources I don't fucking have every time that I go down to see Miss Peaches because she's promised that she's gonna. How many times did I go to Miss Peaches after Natalie was killed? Probably close to 24 times that she just didn't keep her word. Every time there was some goddamn excuse. Yeah, Sean, if you show up here, we'll go down and we'll talk to the police. And I show up, and 2 days later, she's still fucking selling pot. Like, yeah, I get that that's how you make your living, Peaches. I get it. At the time, Miss Peaches had a full-time job and a part-time job and still had to sell pot to make ends meet. Now, she should have told the truth. I shouldn't have had to record it later on. There was one recording where Miss Peaches knew that she was being recorded. And during that recording, you see why it is that I don't tell people I'm recording. Miss Peaches barely spoke about any situations that she was there for. She spoke about situations that she had not shown up for but promised to. Now, all these people, they had valid excuses. And I do continue to say excuses. These may have been valid reasons. These things may have actually happened. But if these things actually happened, they should speak up in court. Instead of playing victim because I'm pissed off at them because I'm still being abused because they never spoke up in court. If you allow an innocent person to be victimized, you promise and promise and promise, and you don't keep your word. It is not that person's fault that you didn't keep your word. A lot of you guys, hindsight is 2020. So rather than give advice, which is what you idiots think you're doing, you want to shove the past in my face and then tell me not to live in the past. I knew that Sheriff DaCosta and his fucking goons, if I had to go in by myself, were going to pull the shit that they did. Thank goodness Molly Smith went in with me. But the next day, Molly Smith was not there, and Jared Hahn was a fucking dick. Not only did he not investigate the crimes that I brought to him with Molly Smith, but he wanted to threaten, harass, and intimidate me afterwards. Cody Selhorst was even worse. I go to Cody Selhorst about Chris Kurth and his buddies pulling their bullshit, and that officer tells me he's going to talk to Chris Kurth. I asked Chris if the cops ever fucking talked to him when he was out there at fucking Sandy's. Hell no, they fucking hate you. Boy, oh boy, would it be nice to get Chris to say that in fucking court. All you guys that got family that fucking protects your ass want to tell me how it is for me. Chris Stegman's probably going to inherit 20-something acres when his dad dies. He'll probably inherit his dad's business. And Chris will do a good job at that business. Chris isn't a fucking idiot. Chris isn't drunk at 10 o'clock in the morning. He starts drinking at 6, just like Shannon Alvarado. He don't start drinking till he's off of work. He's also got an IQ of 172. He's also got a shit ton of experience with this stuff. He also doesn't have an electrical degree like his dad does. So he might want to get started on that. I like his dad. I really do. I hope his dad lives to be 102. Of course, if Floyd holds on to 102, how old will Chris be? Chris says to me, Sean, you know, I do have a lot more than you, but there's a price for everything. For him, he's got to deal with his dad. That's part of the price. On the bright side, he's got his price there. It's established, and he knows what it is. My predators got away because nobody actually spoke up where it mattered. Where it mattered was in court. You can see where a lot of these people argued on Facebook. And that's, well, I was going to say that's fine and dandy, but it's really not. I didn't need people arguing on Facebook and being hateful on Facebook and threatening to murder each other on fucking Facebook. But you notice how through all of this, even though that shit is still on Facebook and it's still on YouTube, that evidence is there. Sorry, Velociraptor. That evidence is still there for y'all to see. If you go back, you notice there's a lot of hecklers. There ain't a whole lot of supportive people. There's mostly hecklers. In the last, I want to say, week or so, instead of it being nearly all hecklers, it's been people who are being supportive, and thank you for that, even if it's only being supportive in words. And no, that's not a whole lot of help to me, but it does give me hope that one of y'all might do what needs done. So you guys keep telling me to do things that when I go in to do them, I'm not allowed. No matter what, any excuse. I've been trying to turn in my predators since before Natalie Bollinger was killed. And the excuses that the police use are things that the police did and situations that the police manipulated in order to cover their own ass. Nick typed, people like him won't get heard though, Antark. And that's correct. They call me mentally ill and automatically I must be lying. They call me mentally ill, automatically I must be schizophrenic. They call me mentally ill, and it automatically means that I don't know up from down, left for right, or what fucking state I'm in. I grew up autistic, but I also grew up in the druggy world. I grew up the son of 2 cocaine addicts. I don't know how many people have tried to convince me that it's my fault that their life sucks because I'm white. I don't know how many people that I have defended because they're not white. I know that through my entire life, I've stuck up for the underdog because I've been the underdog. But also, I'm one of the few underdogs who isn't a complete and total coward. You see, when a lot of these people, when they want help right fucking now. They want me to do it right fucking now. Sean, if you don't do it right fucking now, but then again, I gotta wait 7 months for them to not keep their word, rather. I'm not allowed to cry. I'm not allowed to be angry when I am assaulted. I'm not allowed to be sad that I can't see my loved ones. I'm not allowed to be depressed despite the fact that I am a goddamn sponge. If I'm around a lot of fucking depressed people, I'm not going to be very fucking happy. If I go to see my friend, Chris, made me to actually do something enjoyable, it's mostly just me listening to Chris ramble his alcoholic bullshit. People didn't want their names out on the internet. They didn't mind when it happened to me. They didn't care enough to speak up. But they sure as goddamn hell threw a goddamn tantrum when I pointed out that they didn't keep their word. Miss Peaches, you lied to me. And I posted it up on the goddamn internet. And you're pissed off that it's on the internet? You shouldn't have fucking lied to me. You should have either told me the truth, or you should have gone in with me to tell the cops the truth. If those things that you said were true, you should have come out in court. The police have done everything in their fucking power to hide their crimes to this day. To this day, they prey on the mentally ill thing. And their excuses for not doing their job before Natalie died is situations that they had to force after Natalie died. Scott DaCosta, after him and his deputies having me sent to Scotts Bluff by outright lying to Jen Beebe, and now he gets to use that every single time that I try to turn him in. That's his excuse. When I try to call the state patrol, there is no doubt in my mind that all they got to do is call him and say, hey, we're supposed to investigate you. And he says, oh, well, he was in a nuthatch. And then they drop it off. To this day, the state patrol has not once called me back. Not one of these agencies that I am supposed to contact about this has contacted me back. Not once. And then they continue to prey on my inabilities to do this computer shit. That state patrol officer who came down, I explained to him repeatedly, I need help with this shit. I don't know how. I am disabled. I am disabled. I am shut down. I need help. And they all prey on that. Every time that they tell me I got to do it myself, they know that I'm not going to get heard. Every law enforcement agent in America, every single one knows that. Every law enforcement officer in America knows that I am called mentally ill, so therefore they don't have to listen to me unless someone is present. But did any of these people who said that they would go in with me, did any of them ever actually do so? Did Katie Kate ever actually go in with me? Did Mandy Hughes ever actually go in with me? When the police outright lied, Mandy Hughes could have gone in there and said, hey, you guys are full of shit. Sean's been trying to get help. I didn't help Sean because every time that it came time to help Sean, something came up. The first time I was supposed to take Sean in to make a report, my kids were sick. The second time, again, my kids were sick. The third time, I ended up with a fucking warrant. Okay, Mandy. So you got a warrant. And they kept on telling me that the police aren't going to take my report as long as I had a warrant. They weren't going to listen to me as long as I had a warrant. Meanwhile, she misled the situation. She went in and she talked to those police. And guess what? They took her report without a warrant or with a warrant. And they let her walk out of that building. But then again, She didn't actually write that report about me. She claimed that she tried, and the police said that they couldn't, that I had to do it. I fucking tried, and they denied me. If they're not going to let me do it, and they're not going to let anybody else do it, then they're obstructing justice. And when the shit that they said in court, they knew was a fucking lie. They knew that they had obstructed justice. But you know what? It doesn't matter because these people didn't fucking show up in court. Why is it so fucked up like this in America? Because the fucking country is run by child molesters. Duh. It's run by child molesters and fucking thieves. It's run by people with inherited wealth who don't know what a fucking real day of work is. Why is it so fucked up like this in America? See, here in America, the government steals everything from us and then tells us that we're richer than everybody else. We got people starving to death in the United States, and people in foreign countries think that every American's got 2 fucking Lamborghinis in his goddamn garage. The inherited wealth of the United States, the top 1%, own more than everyone else combined. You want to use the inherited wealth of these billionaires and try to claim that there is an average of Americans are all millionaires. No, they're not. When you shovel all your money at a rich person for their products, you're buying their products, that money's going to the rich. Most of the time, it doesn't even go to their employees. Every major company in the United States gets part of their taxpayer dollars paid by mom and pop shops. Did you know that? They get a special tax break for employing a certain amount of people. And the other businesses in the area have to cover that. With Cabela's, with their special tax breaks that they got because they had a certain amount of employees. Gary Jepsen had to pay taxes for that. That's right, Gary Jepsen, who's got a family-owned business. It's him and his boys. He's got to work extra hours because Cabela's has so many employees. Meanwhile, Gary Jepsen can barely fucking keep himself and his family afloat, and the Cabela's make millions in profits. Nick typed, maybe a stupid question, but isn't moving to a better country an option for you? Might be better to leave all that shit behind. Well, here's the thing is that my name was slandered worldwide. It's all over the internet. There's also the fact that I'm not allowed to leave the country. I was charged with felony assault against an officer, Officer Waylon Lolatai. I can't go to Canada. Canada doesn't accept anyone in Canada who has been charged with a felony. It doesn't matter if you've been convicted. I wasn't convicted. They dropped the charges. And that's the most fucked up part. Is that I didn't get to defend myself against that. But I still have the consequences. I can't leave the country because of what bad cops did. I cannot escape my predators because of what bad cops did. I am stuck within the borders of the continental United States. Nick typed, what about going to EU? That's the European Union. If I can't leave the country, then no, going to EU isn't going to work. If I'm not allowed to leave the United States, then going to another country doesn't work. Also, I can't take care of myself. You want me to go to what? You want me to go to France and mooch off of them? You want me to go to Great Britain and expect them to take care of me? I was born in the United States of America. This is where my fight is. This is where my loved ones are. Asking me to leave my loved ones. I get why you It doesn't register to you that way. I don't abandon my loved ones. I leave them to their own devices. When I was done with all of those people in Virginia, when they came back, I still accepted them as human beings, which is entirely the wrong thing for me to do. But I did it out of desperation. I believe people with a history of doing fucked up. I sang their praises. A lot of people, I sang their praises for things that they promised to do. They never actually did them, so why did I sing their praises? Why was I saying what a good person you are when you ended up being full of shit? Nick typed, wait, you can't even leave it? No, I can't. Type, that's fucked up, man. I agree. Nick typed, true, but you shouldn't suffer so much. I can't take care of myself. And for the last 4 years, everybody has taken complete advantage of that and blown me off. I'm telling you, I can't take care of myself. I am literally telling the lady from Adult Protective Services, I can't take care of myself. But because of my intelligence, my disabilities must not exist. But then because I'm disabled, my intelligence must not exist. It all depends on what's easier for them at the time, whatever is easiest to frame me for. When it's my turn to speak, I'm mentally ill. When it's their turn to fucking slam me and slander me, then I'm intelligent and I didn't do anything. You deny me my rights by calling me mentally ill, and then you pretend that I denied my own rights and just didn't want to try because I'm intelligent. Nick typed, how long are you stuck in the USA? Like, forever? Yeah. When you're pegged as mentally ill, most countries don't fucking want you. Over half of the countries that I could possibly go to that would possibly allow me in if I could get that off of my permanent record, over half of them I would get killed just for showing up. See, here in the United States, they're cowards. They talk about how they would kill child molesters, this, that, and the other. But in the end, they're not going to. They're going to protect the child molester. Without an honest day in court where I am allowed to face my accuser, in specific Alicia Bollinger and Maddie Boa, then I have to continue to have this tag over my head. And in over half the countries that I would be allowed to go to, I would be murdered upon showing up just from slander. So people got these great ideas. They keep suggesting that you should move things. Like I hadn't thought of it. I've moved over 40 times since Natalie died. Antarctic type, UK is so different to America as in caring about people. No, you don't. You might, but the UK is doing as much fucked up shit to the homeless as America is. Y'all are just as fucked up with mental health care too. I want you to look at Anna Moomin and the shit that she's been going through. Your health care is better than ours. There's no doubt about that. Here in America, most of us don't have the ability to go to a hospital. If we do go to a hospital, for the amount of money that you guys spend versus the amount of money that we spend, how much do you think we spend on average for an ambulance ride? And Turk typed, that's so fucked. Nick typed, I got mental disabilities as well, and I guess no matter where you go, it is something the normal people will never understand. Antarctypes, you pay for ambulance rides? That's right, America. I want you to pay attention to that. What's the average cost of an ambulance ride? My last ambulance ride was $3,000. Nick types, what about the Netherlands, though? I believe the Netherlands actually have assisted suicide, the type that I'm looking for. If I could get to the Netherlands, I would totally be down. Honestly, I'd like to go to Amsterdam because I was told in Amsterdam that I'm allowed to die just because I want to die. God, I wish they had those laws here in America. Nick typed, I think like 5K for the ambulance. He was guessing how much an ambulance is here. Nick, how much is an ambulance where you live? Antark typed, what the actual fuck? I can't see my loved ones and it kills me. You guys not get that? I don't have positive people in my life. I got people that like to yell at me and talk to me like I'm retarded. I'm more intelligent than nearly everyone I know, but they treat me like I'm the idiot. I've got more experience in these situations than nearly anybody I know, and they still want to treat me like I'm an idiot. Nick typed, if you have health insurance, it's free. Here, even if you have health insurance, it's not free. Onyx type, the European Union is worse off for helping those with disabilities, unless you're rich, of course. Why is the European Union worse off for helping people with disabilities, Onyx? Or was that a typo? Nick typed, if you don't, it's like 1 to 2K maybe. Antark typed, not true at all. Um, in Great Britain, there is no charge for an ambulance ride. I don't know how it is across the entire European Union, but Great Britain or the United Kingdom, you don't pay for an ambulance ride. It's free. Your taxes have already covered it. Here in the United States, we pay taxes differently. You guys and we pay about the same amount of taxes. We just get ours taken out differently. I mean, we pay a bunch of taxes here that people in Great Britain think are completely fucking stupid. Now, when we try to compare our taxes with Great Britain taxes, we go, all right, well, this is the amount they take out of an American paycheck. This is the amount they take out of a British paycheck. See, Britain is paying a lot more. Britain's got a lot of hidden taxes too that I don't necessarily put into account because I don't know what all those hidden taxes are. Here in the United States, though, I'm pretty familiar with that shit. I don't know the laws in Great Britain because they don't really affect me. But then again, they do. The United States and Great Britain like to bounce ideas off of each other. Like that idea for where the British took all of those little cement triangles and put them everywhere that a homeless person might stop. Now, that doesn't just hurt the homeless. That makes it so that nobody whose legs are weary can sit there comfortably. And after the UK did that, California started doing it. Big ass cement cones anywhere that homeless people sleep. Antarctype. Oh, YH actually forgetting how many different countries stretch across EU. Yeah, it's not just Great Britain and it's not just France. Although, is Great Britain out of the EU yet, or are they still in? Nick typed, I only know for the Netherlands, and my uncle didn't have health insurance, so he had to pay for it. At least the government provides like 75% of the cost for the insurance per month. YH, we left. What does YH stand for? At first I thought it was a typo, but you've typed it a few times, so yeah? Okay. YH stands for yeah. Thank you for teaching me that. A lot of people, when I ask them something that I don't know, they treat me like I'm stupid, get condescending, and turn into assholes. Or say, you should know what that means. Well, if I knew what it means, I wouldn't be asking. Thing is, I still have enough evidence to prove that all of this was bullshit. I still have enough evidence to prove that all of the abuse that I've endured was over lies. I still have that evidence. The problem is getting someone to look at it. The problem is getting the computer skills necessary. I didn't grow up in the age of computers. In the 80s, we didn't have that shit. We just got the Apple IIe. So, I mean, kids today, their phones are a better computer than what we had. I grew up the last generation of non-computer entities. Most of the kids my generation, a few years older than me and a few years younger than me, we fit a very specific category of when everything changed over from paper to electronic. Yeah, a lot of our stuff was lost. A lot of our history is lost because it was all on paper. And a lot of those things, when they were transferred over from paper to electronic files, and I'm sure you guys remember that situation, when they started transferring everything over to electric files, and there were kids being fucking people being locked up for crimes that they supposedly committed when they were 4, or people had their paperwork, and then when they went to the courts and said, hey, I got this paperwork, because they got the paperwork back when it was all paperwork, actual paperwork, and then they go in and they're like, hey, I got this paperwork and I need to get something done about this situation. And the police are like, well, it says something different on our computers. Well, that's because somebody fucked up when they were transferring it. That's not my fault. But your professional records say something different than my paperwork that came from the courts before all of your computer bullshit. In the United States, we actually treat immigrants better than we treat the homeless. And a lot of y'all, you're looking at America because of the way that we treat immigrants and because of the way that we supposedly treat blacks. I'm not going to pretend that racism does not exist here. It certainly does. When I was in the jail, I was locked up with a lot of black folks. But with those black folks, the majority of them, just like the majority of the other people who were in there, were homeless when they were incarcerated. It's nice to say that all of these people were incarcerated because they're black. But when you look at the white inmates too, it shows you that it's obviously not the skin color. Obviously. If they're doing it to white people too, and you're trying to sell it off as if it's only happening to black people, or it's only wrong when it's happening to black people, and you want to try to push everything as if it's a racist issue, we got the whole world pissed off at us about things that weren't racist issues, but black people wanted to pretend that they were. That's something that we as Americans have to deal with. We as Americans have to deal with the fact that black people are allowed to be racist towards us. They are allowed to commit racially motivated crimes against us and then pretend that black people can't be racist. They're black. We got people who have such a chip on their shoulder from being raised that white people hate them, that they go out and they try to find a white person to victimize, and then they try to justify what they're doing by claiming or pretending that person is a racist. You go up and you bully them and harass them, and when they defend themselves, you say, oh, you want to call me the N-word, don't you? I know you want to call me the N-word. Call me the N-word. I dare you. I dare you. I know you want to. Is that black person being victimized by the color of their skin at that point? No, the fuck they're not. They're looking for somebody they can take their bullshit out on. And it's not just black people. The whole United States is that way. Shit, we got different Christian religious sects that are blaming the other Christians, killing each other. Here in the United States, we have Christians killing Christians over which Jesus is the real Jesus. I'm pretty sure that one of the 10 Commandments was, thou shalt not kill. I'm pretty sure that Jesus spoke out about doing exactly that. Moonlit programmer or moonlit pro gamer types, hey, remember me? I remember the name. You were on a couple of nights ago typing with me, keeping me company. And thank you for that. But y'all notice that with all of these situations in the United States, the ones that people speak up about, things that people are pissed off about and heartfelt about, there might be something done. But nobody was pissed off about the way that I was treated enough to actually do something. People got all these ideas of what I should be doing, but you know, if you send me to Great Britain or France or Spain, you know, I'll probably learn the language real fucking quick. If I had my choice in the matter, I'd like to move to Ireland and forget everyone exists. What's in Ireland for me, though? Nothing. There's not enough forests in Ireland. I love forests. I love mountains. You think the Irish would let me go off in the woods, dig a hole, and fucking live in it, and just leave me the hell alone? They won't do that in the United States. They won't leave you the hell alone. Whoa, this one, it says Nick, message automatically head for review. Hidden by Sean David. View deleted message. I wasn't trying to delete it. Nick typed, that's what we get for being in a time of relative peace. People try to find ways to fuck it up. Copy. And I'll put that down here and paste it for you, bud. I didn't mean to delete your comment. Paul Boyle typed, good points made. Watching from Ireland. Antark typed, Ireland is amazing. The views are incredible. Moonlit pro gamer typed, yeah, I do live in the UK. You know, right from the very beginning, the people who were the most supportive were all from the UK. Americans, they weren't nice, but people from the UK, right from the very beginning, were showing me support. Right from the very beginning, you know, you guys in the UK, you guys have fought more for our Constitution than we have. You guys have spoken up more for our Constitution than we have. You guys realize what the loss of our Constitution means. God damn, I wish Americans would have realized that. Why is it the people in the UK understand that and Americans can't? Well, that has to do a lot with the fact that 75% of the world's opiates are consumed by Americans. 90% of the world's medications are taken by Americans. We're on a lot of fucking drugs that our government gives us. Yeah, it's real difficult to know what the fuck is going on when you're that trashed on government medications. I know I grew up on government medications. Nick typed, "Oh, I didn't notice," and Moonlit Pro Gamer typed, "Thanks." Absolutely. Now, there are a lot of people in Great Britain who are assholes, too. A lot of Canadians as well. There was one guy over there in the UK. He's supposed to be some sort of MMA fighter, and he's huge. He really is. I looked at his profile, and I thought to myself, damn, I hope I can make it to the UK. The guy wanted to threaten to beat me to death over Natalie, who's cute. He is twice my size, and I'm pretty gimpy, so I'd really like the challenge. I grew up fighting. That's what y'all don't get. If I wanted these people dead, they'd be dead. If I wanted them beaten up, I'd have beaten them up. I had to do desperate shit and break laws because Americans just don't fucking care. You guys are fighting for our Constitution harder than we are. Well, not harder than me, but that's because you guys realize the impact, and not just the impact for Americans, but the impact for you and the impact for the rest of the world. You guys are given a better education and a better understanding. Here in America, we got a whole bunch of idiots in school who don't want to do nothing, and the teachers end up just passing them just so they can get them the fuck out of class. The people in the United States who are the worst off educationally are actually the most intelligent. We're all held back for the idiots. Now, I say idiots for a reason. American kids are fucking lazy. American kids don't want to do schoolwork. American kids, if they don't get what they want, they go and they whine to their fucking parents. Their parent goes and whines to the fucking teacher. And the teachers end up folding. One thing I've been looking at the last week or so, I'm looking up here. It says live 1 minute 17 seconds, 1 hour 17 minutes and 33 seconds. It says there's 5 people watching, and I have 4 likes. That's strange. Usually by this time I've got 30 hecklers on here and maybe 1 or 2 likes. Nick typed, "Sorry, I gotta go make dinner. Take care and stay strong." Yes, sir, Nick, I'm doing my best. But you also notice, like, when you guys made these suggestions, I was not a complete and total dick about it. Now, if you continue to make the same suggestions after I've explained to you that it doesn't work and why, and have given you several examples of exactly why, specific examples, and that's what a lot of these videos are about, is me telling you about these specific examples, the reasons that I don't have rights. Potankit typed, "Glad to see you again." Good to have you. People know how screwed up the United States is, even Americans. But Americans aren't going to do anything about it. You guys are. You guys realize that the impact the United States has on the world scale affects you greatly. I mean, take a look at the BLM situation. That's worldwide now. That BLM situation is worldwide over George Floyd. And the most fucked up part about that is that we've got a lot better examples. George Floyd died, but that cop didn't kill him intentionally. When cops kill you intentionally, they don't do it in public. Some officers will spend months setting up situation after situation where they think, hey, if this turns out right, I'll get to shoot somebody. And, you know, it doesn't turn out right, and it doesn't turn out right. But they have that hope that eventually they'll be able to manipulate a situation so they can shoot somebody and be the hero. That's America. That's what our TV teaches us. You're the good guy if you murder people. That's what our TV teaches us. Our TV teaches us that if you're different, if you have a twitch, if you have Tourette syndrome, you must be a psycho or a serial killer. We give, well, let me give you the example of Deuce Bigalow, the male gigolo. There's a lady there who plays like she has Tourette syndrome. She curses. That's what her Tourette syndrome is. It's basically just cursing. 30%, see, it's called a tick. Not a tick like one of the ones that holds on to the edge of the grass and has its other arm hanging out here. And when you walk by, it just kind of clips and carries on you and sucks your blood. Different tick. This is a tick brought on by a neurological disorder. It's a twitch, a signal that is being sent to your body, to your limbs. But you see that lady in Deuce Bigalow, the male gigolo, and 30% of Tourette syndrome cases have a vocal tick. That's what the cursing is. It's a vocal tick. However, only 5% of vocal ticks are the one where you curse. Now, if you look at Sharp's Rifles, the evil sergeant on that, he's got schizophrenia and Tourette syndrome. He's also a rapist and a murderer. See, that's the way that you paint mental illness in the movies. This is a British show, by the way. Sharp's Rifles is a British show. We do the same thing here in America. You see that movie about Kaiser Sose? Yeah, at the end of the movie, it turns out that it's the disabled dude is Kaiser Sose. But you look at all these villains, and they got Tourette syndrome. We got to write in every villain as if they got some sort of a nervous twitch, they call it. That's what a tick is. We have Tourette syndrome whether we're nervous or not. But if we're scared, our Tourette syndrome is going to come out more. If we're excited, our Tourette syndrome is going to come out more. Like for me, if I'm able to control my Tourette syndrome all the time, but then I ask a woman out and she says yes, I'm probably going to start doing this immediately, you know? Wow, she said yes. I don't get anxiety about asking a woman out either. Like if I like you, I like you. I'm going to ask you. If you say no, you say no. Ask Jessica Martindale how I treated her when she rejected me. Ask her if I chased her around the world, called her a cunt because she wouldn't touch my penis. Ask her. Of course, she's a cop in Colorado. Maybe we're lucky and she's not a cop. I certainly hope that's the case. I love Jessica. Not in love with. And with current events going on and police getting away with whatever the fuck they want, I'm pretty sure that we got a wholesale police slaughter coming here shortly. Am I going to take part in the slaughtering of the police? No, the fuck I'm not. I'm against killing. It's a lot easier to do the right thing to begin with than to procrastinate and have to clean up the mess. That's the moral of the story for Brandon Ratner. That's the moral of the story for Miss Peaches. That's the moral of the story for Miss Tabby. Live PD is a good example, and archetypes. One thing that a lot of Americans, they can't tell fantasy from reality. It doesn't occur to them that the way that the cops act on that show, Cops, is different from the way that they're acting in everyday life. On Cops, they're being filmed. They're on their best goddamn behavior. Now let's imagine that these cops act how they do in real life while on Cops. You got that cameraman behind them, and he's showing what's going on, and that police officer, he sees a black dude. Well, that gives him an excuse to kill. Maybe it's not a black dude. Maybe it's a white homeless person. You never know. I want you to look up the name, if you can, of that one doesn't work. On the bright side, I remembered that before I pressed a button. Kelly Thomas. Or Thomas Kelly. Might be either one of those up. You'll see how homeless people are treated in the United States. Thomas Kelly got it far worse. Thomas Kelly was beaten on by cops for almost 20 minutes of video. Thomas Kelly was begging for help, begging for his dad, begging for him to stop, and they beat him to death. My profile picture for a very long time was Thomas Kelly. And then they told me that my profile picture wasn't appropriate. It wasn't appropriate to show what the police did to Thomas Kelly. It wasn't appropriate to show on Facebook that man's head swelled up to twice its original size with gauze and tubes coming out of his fucking corpse. He might have still been alive when that picture was taken. I don't know. But I do know that those cops walked free. And Tark typed okay, and then he typed, they got found not guilty. What? Yeah, exactly. But Thomas Kelly isn't black, so BLM isn't going to pick it up. He's homeless, so nobody fucking cares. And unlike me, Thomas Kelly actually was schizophrenic. So they used that to justify murdering the man. Yeah, that's the United States for you. You'll murder somebody over a pretty person in the United States. It's disgusting. Oh my God, my fucking back. Oh, the worst part is my fucking knee. Oh my God, like my back hurts like a motherfucker, but my knee has been giving me issues ever since Steinman, or sorry, ever since Lolatai. So sometimes I can walk fine and dandy, and people can't tell nothing's wrong except that I hunch. And some days I limp like a motherfucker. Also, I want to encourage all of you to watch a video. You don't have to. You don't owe it to me. This is called Why We Need Autism Acceptance. This is by a woman named Anna Moomin. If you guys could get a hold of her and find out what it is that she needs in order to get live again, in order to get back on and speak for us. She's one of the few people who is heard from our community. And yes, I get that primarily it's because she's pretty. People click on it because she's pretty, but then they hear what she has to say and they stay on. They hear what she has to say and they realize that she's not an idiot and they stay on. We have a lot of people who speak out who are autistic, but most of them aren't pretty like Anna. So they don't, people just bypass them. They move on to the next one. Anna Moomin has been educating people, actually educating people, not what these doctors are doing. These doctors who are not autistic, who don't have to deal with these things. They can tell us all that they want about the medical side of it. But that doesn't change our experience. Our experience isn't what the doctors say. Like my friend Jeff, there's a disease where there's a bubble that grew next to his spine. And that bubble makes it so that he can't walk. And there's a special name for it and all this other stuff, you know. A doctor could tell you all that stuff, but he couldn't tell you the first thing about Jeff as a human being. I could tell you all sorts about Jeff as a human being, but I couldn't tell you hardly anything about his medical condition. However, Jeff is the only one who has experience in being in a wheelchair. A doctor can talk all about the medical side of it, but unless that doctor's in a wheelchair, he's not going to understand what Jeff has to go through. Say 10 typed, the video quality came up as 144p, lol. My favorite of the P's, lol. All right. I think it's funny that it says 144. Like if you're gonna do a number, try to round it to an even number, right? The thing that's funny about the 144 is that I was talking to a Jehovah's Witness about the fact that my computer had a shitty connection and I only got the lowest connection, which is 144. He tells me that's how many people are going to heaven. 144,000 people apparently are going to heaven, according to Jehovah's Witnesses. I actually should go over and get those books from Chris. He gave me some Jehovah's Witness books that used to belong to his mom. And I do plan on reading them. I read the Bhagavad Gita, I read the Quran, I read the Bible. You know, I want to know. I want to know what makes you tick. I want to know why you do the things you do. I've read Mein Kampf. I'm anti-Nazi. I'm a Russian German who Hebrew descent for the most part. When it comes to let's talk about the Jews. A lot of people like to say the Jews, the Jews, the Jews. They don't know the difference between a Jew and a Hebrew and an Israelite. I'm going to tell you. I'm going to explain it to you. Jew, that's a practitioner of Judaism. Judaism is the religion. Hebrew denotes a bloodline. That's not a religion. Your mom and your dad are not a religion. They're your genetic contributors. Does that make sense? Darmagia typed hello. I'm seeing the comments here. I had no idea you can't even leave the country. Have you heard about the Sikhs? I think you might have spelled that wrong, though. I think it's Sihks. I might be wrong too. If I corrected you and I'm wrong, I do apologize. Sikhs. Are people associated with Sikhism, a monotheistic religion that originated in the 15th century in the Punjab region of the Indian subcontinent, based on the revelation of Guru Nanak. Kind of makes sense, don't it? We all learned something new today, didn't we? God, I got this. Oh, good. I got it fucking popped finally. God damn. I've been screwing with that for a couple of days. Guess we'll get back to this. Let's see. Darmagia typed, I may have Sikhism. See, here's the thing: is you actually did type it right. I was the one who got it wrong. I just looked it up. So, Star, as much as this is a very un-American thing for me to do, I got to admit that you were right. I know that the American thing to do is just deny it. There's that song by Shaggy, basically sums that up. It wasn't me. You keep on saying it wasn't you. Yeah, if she busted you having sex on the floor with another woman in the kitchen, yeah, saying it wasn't you ain't gonna work. Jay gives advice is trash. I could have sworn I had a pack of smokes here. Did I go through all those cigarettes last night? I probably did. I need to find something I can use for an ashtray. I had something I was using as an ashtray, but I needed to keep my bolts organized. So, I mean, there's a lot of stuff in here, and it's pretty cluttered. And I've been clearing it up a little bit and organizing it, and making sure that all the cabinets and shelves that are in here are pretty well packed full. That way, when I first started doing it, it was basically just shoveling everything in here so that it was in here and out of the weather. But I couldn't fit it all in here. So now I've cleared up almost, I've got almost twice as much open space here to work with. Um, a lot of that has to do with putting screws in the wall to hang stuff up. I got a lot of my tools are over here. Um, a lot of my emergency stuff is over here. Like I have my go bag and I have my gas mask. Um, and I have, of course, I got a machete in case of emergencies. Um, if I'm attacked and I'm in here, I'm not going to grab the machete. It's too small, too enclosed of an area, and the machete is meant as a tool, not as something to hurt somebody with. If I'm attacked in here, I'm actually lucky. This confined space gives me the advantage. Also, the fact that I know where everything is in here and pretty much everything is within arm's reach also gives me an advantage. Also, the fact that it is my legal residence means that the make my day law actually counts. This thing is only 5 foot by 5 foot. If someone comes in here and tries to kill me, you know, as long as they die in here, I'm well within my legal rights. If I step outside of the door or they die and then fall out the door, I'm in a lot of trouble. Now, a lot of people keep saying, Sean, you need to defend yourself. A lot of people come up to me and say, hey, Sean, do you have something to protect yourself with? Like, do you need a gun? Oh, I don't need a gun. What makes you think a gun is going to do me any good? If someone pulls out a gun on me, they're probably going to pull the trigger. They're probably not going to pull it out at me and talk shit until I am able to pull my gun out and shoot back. That's probably not going to happen. Also, there's the fact that I'm not allowed to own firearms. I'm not allowed to carry firearms because of the term mentally ill. I can't do it. My legal right to defend myself with a firearm does not exist. Meanwhile, my predators don't care about the law. Ted Bollinger has not been allowed to own a firearm for at least 10 to 15 years, probably closer to 20. But sure enough, he doesn't care that it's illegal for him to have it. He wants it anyway. He's been busted with meth 4 times at least since Natalie's death. And at least one occasion with an illegal firearm when he went through a high-speed chase, multiple states, with his daughter Alicia in the vehicle. They got busted with 18 grams of methamphetamines with them, and they let Alicia walk away. 0 consequences for her. They put her up in a motel for the night, and she disappeared. And what happened because she disappeared? Same thing that happened when Natalie disappeared. People got a hold of me to start threatening to fucking murder me. Starmasia type denial at its finest. It's become so common and acceptable to do it. Yeah. See, that's the great thing about me recording all of these professionals. You can hear in their voice that they're playing fucking stupid. You can also tell that they did this repeatedly. Like when I talked to Cindy Taylor, I've got at least 5 conversations on this YouTube recorded with her. And all 5 of those conversations, I ask about my paperwork. And all 5 of those conversations, she starts off playing fucking stupid. Oh, you just need your rental agreement? No, no, not just my rental agreement, all of it. My entire case file, all of it. Okay, well, you just have to give us a week and we'll send it to you. They didn't send it in a week. And then when I call her up again, she plays stupid again. But the fact is that she has been explained to this, had this explained to her repeatedly. Repeatedly. Oh my God. Oh. Now there's a child molester here in town, and there's a woman named Bobby here in town who is a witness. She's also a witness to Cindy Taylor again playing stupid in person, but at least this time I had Bobby with me to bear witness. Of course, Bobby lives in this town, and the opinions of people in this small town do make a lot of difference. I did want to keep her name a secret, but she needs to come forward, and she hasn't done so. Matter of fact, rather than come forward, I recently noticed that she blocked me as a friend on Facebook. That's pretty fucked up. But she's also a witness, and of course, I'm going to do my best to have her called into court. If you're too afraid to tell the truth, you don't get to judge me because, well, I'm afraid too. But I'm not a coward. I also don't have the luxury of being a coward. Those of you who have loved ones who help to take care of you and protect you, you're lucky. You got something I will never have. Now, I try to keep it private. If Bobby was to come forward with me and go to the cops about these situations and help me to get a day in court, that would be something. And if she were to make the steps to do that, then I wouldn't be obligated to show the truth to the American public. I'm pretty sure within the next day or two, I'm going to be posting up everything from Bobby and posting it up for y'all to see. And just like all these other people that I exposed on Facebook and exposed on YouTube, she will probably be pissed. She doesn't have any right to be pissed off, though. She's not the one being victimized. I am. See, here in America, especially in small towns like this, it's okay to have sex with little kids if you're an adult. That's not a joke. You see, this dude, Ken Zarecki, he threatened to kill Bobby. And then Bobby's boyfriend, not the one that she has now, but Hawk. That's what he goes by. That's her ex-boyfriend. He's a fucking doucher. When she tried telling on Ken Zarecki to her boyfriend, hey, Ken's having sex with Bailey. She's 14 years old. That's not okay. But Ken Zarecki threatens to kill her. And instead of doing something about that, her boyfriend treats her like shit for it. Holy hell. Hawk, you knew that this man was having sex with a 14-year-old and you intimidated your girlfriend to keep it quiet? How fucked up is that, Hawk? That's Chapel, Nebraska for you. By the way, Bailey is now 16, might be almost 17, and she is married to a 32-year-old Kenneth Zarecki. A lot of people's excuse right after Natalie was killed was that I was a child molester. Me and Natalie weren't friends until she became an adult. I didn't even know her name until she became an adult. And people don't want to pay no attention to that. I couldn't tell one twin from the other. Now, when Natalie turned 18 and came in and rescued me from the Boulder Police Department, that's when I started to be able to tell the difference between them. Natalie had one tooth that was just a little tiny bit crooked. And that's enough to be able to tell the difference between Natalie and Alicia. Antark typed, oh my God. Starmagia typed, covering a loved one's mistakes is honestly more harmful than not. I don't know how people don't realize that. And how is pedophilia even allowed? Well, for starters, Ken intimidated people. Second of all, when you turn 16 in the state of Nebraska, if your parents consent, then yeah, you can date whoever the fuck you want. Now, according to the laws in the state of Nebraska, if there's more than a 7-year difference, that's the part that's really creepy. More than a 7-year difference. Because how is that supposed to be interpreted? See, Bailey started having sex with Ken at 14 years old. But also, she liked it. Bailey liked having sex with a pedophile. She was 14. Is there any other way to look at that? Now she's 16 and he's in his 30s and they're married. People tried telling me that I was a pedophile because I was friends with an 18-year-old. He's fucking a little kid, and you want to treat me like I'm a pedophile for being friends with an 18-year-old. Nobody is threatening to kill him for actually fucking a 14-year-old. But people have actually attempted to kill me for being friends with an 18-year-old who lied. Natalie got shot in the head when she was 19. And a lot of people say, well, she deserved it for what she did. She wanted her family to love her. She did the fucked up shit that she did because she wanted her predators to love her. At her age, I can understand that. However, she was an adult. And Bailey is not an adult. Bailey is a 16-year-old drama hound who likes to drink and scream. One night I was walking the Pumpkin Pantry, and Ken and Hawk and all them were across the street from Pumpkin Pantry at a guy's house. I won't say his... God, I can't remember the dude's house, but that's where Ken and Bailey and Hawk and all them were living. And Bailey and Hawk and all them are outside, and they're all drinking. And they're all extremely loud. And it's like 11:30 at night. And this guy stops and says, man, those kids are fucking loud. I'm about to call the cops on them. So I walked up there to warn them. I was going to say, hey, you guys are really loud and you're really drunk and you're right on Main Street, right across from the only place that's still open. I mean, it's... Dude just drove by and said that he was going to call the cops on you guys. Now, I didn't get to tell them that. No, I got up to the sidewalk and stepped onto the sidewalk. And Hawk tells me, "You need to stop just walking on our property without permission." Well, I'm on the sidewalk, bitch. The sidewalk. I'm allowed to be on the sidewalk. But because you wanted to be a fucking dick, I'm just going to walk away. If he calls the cops and the cops come and arrest all you fucking dumbasses for drinking underage and arrest the homeowner for contributing to the delinquency of a fucking minor, you're not going to be too fucking happy, are you? But no, you wanted to be a fucking douchebag. Meanwhile, I'd only been to that house twice before, and both times I was fucking invited. So fuck you, Hawk. Fuck you for protecting child molesters. Fuck you for intimidating your own fucking girlfriend over that situation. Fuck you, Hawk. Fuck you, Kenneth Zarecki. And also, fuck you, Bailey. Starmasia typed. That's the problem. Teens don't know shit and think they're so mature and think it's so cool to be with grown-ass person. Once grown, they realize too late that they were used and abused. If you're going to abuse me over something that I didn't do, something that there is plenty of proof that I didn't fucking do, but you want to abuse me as if I'm that monster anyway. But then this guy, Ken Zarecki, he's popular in this town. He's actually a pretty good looking dude. His hair's thinning, but he's a pretty good looking dude. And he talks nice and pleasant. He's a dork to the max. I mean, he likes to tell a lot of fucking tall stories about his fucking military service. But he's good looking and he's friendly and he's outgoing. So here in this town, people just don't care that he was fucking a 14-year-old. There isn't a person at Pumpkin Pantry that didn't know that he was fucking a 14-year-old. Bobby says to me, you know what, I kicked myself in the ass for not saying something because now he got away with it. No, he didn't. Pedophilia, there is no such thing as a statute of limitations on pedophilia. Yes, Ken Zarecki is married to a 16-year-old now, but he can still go to prison for fucking his wife. Why? Because he started fucking her when he was 14. Ken Zarecki is a sexual predator. Just because some dumb little girl, and she is a little girl, thinks that she's more mature because she's having sex with an old man, doesn't make her more mature. It makes her less mature. One thing that you guys don't want to pay attention to, you say that girls hit puberty before boys. And on average, that is true. But hitting puberty and maturing physically is not the same as maturing mentally. Most women that I know never got past the high school mentality. That's not true. Most of them never got to the high school mentality. Most of them are still stuck in the middle school games after 50 goddamn years. Or more in some cases. Is it still abuse if it's consensual? At what age do we cut it off and say, hey, it's no longer appropriate? I mean, we got people on the East Coast who want to make the legal age of consent 13. The legal age of consent here in Nebraska is 15, as long as there isn't a 7-year difference. Ken Zarecki is a lot more than 7 years older than Bailey. Antarctype, never. But you see how I was victimized without a day in court. I was victimized for an entire year without a day in court. And no matter how much I jumped through people's hoops because they said, if you do this and you do that, we'll help you. If you do this and you do that, then we'll be able to help you with what you need. And I jumped through their hoops. And they didn't keep their word. They just wanted the money. That's how the United States operates. Even these supposedly good people, man, when you ain't got the money to pay your rent, you know what happens to homeless people in the United States. You know what happens to homeless people in the United States because most people in the United States take part in treating the homeless people that way. These very same people who treat the homeless like shit for being homeless are scared shitless of becoming homeless themselves and being treated the way that they treated these people. For a rapist going to prison, kind of a similar situation. You rape a woman, you go to prison, now you got to worry about people fucking you in your butthole. Now you have to be worried about being the victim. But then again, when it comes down to popularity, the cops aren't going to investigate popular people. Rory Jepson, he was trying to turn in one of the city council members for murdering kittens. Do you know who murders kittens? Serial killers do. I can't think of anybody else who murders kittens, just serial killers. So we got a city council member who is a potential serial killer, and the cops won't investigate it because he's a fucking city council member. Holy hell. And now that city council member can go out and do whatever they want because Rory's dead. Rory is dead. The court dates that Rory was trying to get against the Dual County Sheriff's Department for the exact same things that I was. They wouldn't do their fucking jobs. But what are the differences between Rory and I? Number one, I'm not dead. And number two, his situation was over dead kittens. Kittens. The dead that I am talking about aren't kittens. Natalie Bollinger was not a kitten. Benjamin Harvey wasn't a kitten. Brian Farmer was not a kitten. Jared Wallace was not a kitten. Shady Dan wasn't a fucking kitten. Quake wasn't a fucking kitten. Brian Gray wasn't a kitten. Forrest was not a fucking kitten. These are not kittens. These aren't kittens. These are human beings who are fucking dead. Star Magia typed, I hate that you're right. I really think that anyone who can't legally drink shouldn't be having sex. I know that's not a popular opinion, but it really would prevent a hell of problems we have. And that's right. Ken Zarecki is a child molester, but it is socially acceptable. The town thinks it's okay, so it doesn't matter that it's illegal. It's a popularity contest. The law has never had anything to do with what's actually written on paper. It has always had to do with the popularity contest. If they are popular, people will show up. If people show up, you can't railroad them. If you can't railroad them, you're wasting money. If they're homeless, they probably don't have anyone who gives a shit. And anybody who might potentially show up who does give a shit is probably too afraid to show up. Most of the women I know have told me that they're not friends with women or are not friends with very many women because women are drama and trouble and women are dishonest. Women are telling me this stuff that I'm not allowed to say. I'm not allowed to say women are dishonest because then I'm being sexist. But women, many women tell me these things. Sean, don't trust a woman. And this is a woman who's telling me this. A lot of women in the United States refuse to be friends with women in the United States because they're drama. They're pretty fucking princesses. Now, you over in the UK, you guys have real royalty. You have real princes and princesses and fucking kings and queens and, well, all the bullshit that we fucking killed y'all to get rid of. That's right. We killed a bunch of British people so that we weren't owned by royalty. so that we weren't ordered around by royalty, so that we didn't have everything that we busted our ass for stolen by royalty forcibly. And then we train every little girl in America that she's a fucking princess. Oh, that's fucking smart, ain't it? We don't want to serve the King of England because we don't want to serve royalty. We don't want to bust our asses for those people. And we talk about how terrible royalty is. And then we tell our daughter she's a fucking princess. Ooh-wee. On the bright side, you guys have better conversations with me than anyone I know. And you guys are just typing. When I got on here this morning, I was severely depressed. And you guys didn't do what I'm used to doing, or used to having people do on this channel, which is be entirely non-supportive. You guys are different. You know, I get on here hell or high water. I get on here knowing that I'm not popular. I get on here knowing that the things that I say, there's going to be a bunch of people who just want to be douchebags. But I get on here nonetheless. And I even interact with those douchebags. Even though they start off showing that they're heckling and just being douches, I try to allow them a part here. But when they don't change their behaviors, when they continue to just bully and heckle and go out of their way to be assholes, I block them from my channel. They can still see my channel, they just can't comment. Now I've met Bailey's dad. I don't know her mom, but I've met her dad. I like her dad. And a lot of y'all might be like, well, you know, he's obviously not a good dad if he let his daughter marry a fucking child molester. He's obviously not a good dad if he let his 14-year-old have sex with a fucking 30-year-old. Well, here's the thing, is that his daughter is a spoiled individual. She has things a certain way in her head, and I'm certain that by the point that her dad and her mom let her do that, first of all, I'm pretty sure that they didn't know that she was having sex at 14 because they probably would have called Ken in. Second of all, with the fucking drama that she is, they were probably glad to get her the fuck out of the house. Now, do I have any business to talk about what her dad did or didn't do? No, I wasn't there for any of the shit that he did or didn't do. I don't know his opinion on the situation. I do know that when I went out there to take care of the work I needed to take care of out there, he talked to me like I was a human being. And he very much comes across as a working class individual, which, man, I did manual labor for years. You goddamn right I can respect that. Most of the women that I know admit that when they were girls, they were uncontrollable. Many of them say, man, I don't know what my dad was thinking. If I was my dad, I probably would have chained me to my fucking bed. A lot of dads, they don't have the say-so. They're not allowed to have the say-so. And a lot of y'all girls are so goddamn spoiled and fucking self-entitled. That comes from the you're a princess bullshit. Not all women are like that. Every woman in America knows that she can do this bullshit that I've been speaking out about. But there are good women who refuse to. They know that they can, but they choose not to. That I can respect. I know that if I have a bad day, if I go find a black person who's by themselves, especially if they're homeless, I could probably get away with assaulting them, especially here in Nebraska, especially here in Chapel. I could probably victimize them and get away with it and say, hey, they started it. But I don't. Do you know why? For starters, I like black people. That's fucked up, isn't it? If I see somebody walking through Chapel, Nebraska who's black, I get excited immediately. I am ecstatic that I just saw a black person. I grew up with mostly black people till I turned 15. Starmasia typed, bad parents aren't bad people overall. I agree. I do agree. Jamie, for example, she put her son at repeated risk. She's a bad parent. But she's not a bad person for not wanting to be alone. She went back to James because she didn't want to be alone. I get that. But it wasn't just because she didn't want to be alone. Jamie never had a problem, ever, with getting somebody to have sex with. I was the first person in her life who ever denied her sex. Because I'm some sort of a sexual deviant, right? This is the woman who repeatedly, while she was drunk, wanted to have sex with me. And repeatedly, I had to tell her, if I'm not good enough for you when you're sober, you can't have me when you're drunk. So one night, Jamie says to me that we're going to do some drinking and we're going to have sex. So she drinks a bunch of tequila and I drink some too. It didn't stay down for long. Been the first time I drank in years. Like I said, I quit drinking in 2001. Now I've had several drinks since then, and they never stay down. I've drank a grand total of 3 times since 2001. I drank one shot of tequila. It was a orange tequila liqueur um, at a restaurant in Boulder. I was helping the guy who was the morning staff to get the kitchen ready. And he gave me a shot of that orange liqueur, and it came right back up. The guy needed help. He had to get stuff done in a hurry, and here I am puking in his fucking kitchen. But what happened with the situation with Jamie that night? She got completely blitzed. She was outside dancing with no shirt on. She came inside. We were supposed to have sex, but I needed to go pee. So I went to the bathroom, and when I was done going pee, I zipped up 1.5 inches of my, well, and I felt, I mean, I was gonna lose my virginity. This is the 5th time or so that something completely fucked up has happened when I was about to lose my virginity. Watching the 40-year-old virgin, I'm like, that dude got nothing on me. Of course, I was only a virgin until I was 33. The young woman that I lost my virginity to was 19. Her name was Brianna Hernandez Cordona. Yes, the little girl that Mobley headbutted when she was 17. Do you know why he headbutted her when she was 17? She had been stalking me since she was 15. She was in love with me. And Mobley didn't want me getting in trouble. And he was fucking tripping balls. And he thought he saw a demon in her. He said, I didn't headbutt her. I headbutted the demon. No, dude. She's got a big ass welt on her fucking head because you headbutted her. There's no demon there, dude. You're fucking hallucinating because you're on fucking mushrooms. Why don't you admit that you fucked up instead of pushing this shit that she's a demon for all these years? Anyway, I know that young woman's dad. I just met him last week. I know his name. And after meeting him, I don't see any possible way of blaming him for this situation. We have created a situation in the United States where parents aren't allowed to be parents to their girl. You're not allowed to put your foot down. But also, we've got a lot of laws that punish the parents if their kid is unruly. They're not allowed to do anything to stop their kids from being unruly, but they will be punished if their children are unruly. So what are you supposed to fucking do? When your 14-year-old daughter is running around having sex with everybody in fucking town, or latching herself onto a fucking child molester, and you can't do anything about it. I mean, shit, letting her marry Ken Zarecki is probably the smartest thing that her parents could have done. Because at that point, Bailey is no longer their responsibility. If she breaks the law, they're not getting in trouble for it. She's married now. She has a husband. If she gets in trouble, she's on her fucking own. Now, that's not to say that her parents don't care, and if she gets in trouble, they won't do something to help her. But right now, they're probably just happy that they're not going to get in trouble because they can't control her. Anyway, it's 1:38 in the afternoon. I'm starting to run out of eggnog. I got half a container left. I'm going to run down and get some more eggnog before the Christmas season's over. Starmasia typed, I like to drink, but I don't like getting drunk. Being drunk makes people either problematic or very vulnerable. Or both. You're absolutely right about that, Star. Anyway, it's not often, if ever, that I get to say this, but I want to thank everybody who took part in this today. I want to thank you guys for not being condescending assholes. I want to thank you guys for when you guys made suggestions and I explained to you that I've tried and that they didn't work. I want to thank you for not pounding on me or treating me like I'm some sort of shitty person as if I didn't try because you weren't there to see it. Everybody today who took part in this conversation, every one of you acted like adults. Every one of you were civil. If only I had help like you guys from the start. See, although most of you guys aren't ever going to actually help the way that I need, you're not going to show up in person. You're not going to write your local senator or congressman. The fact is that you're interacting with me in a positive fashion on here. And although reading your comments is a far cry from having a conversation with you, and it's a far cry from sitting down and having coffee with you and talking about the old times, we don't really have any old times together to talk about. Maybe if things turn out, we're able to change laws. Maybe 10 years from now, we'll be friends. Maybe 10 years from now, I'll be in Ireland, sitting down, drinking a cup of coffee at the pub, laughing at all the drunks there while they laugh at me. Maybe. Or maybe I'll be sitting in prison for defending myself. We'll see. Y'all have a good night or a good day, depending on where you're at. Be safe. Look out for each other and remember that sinning is important. Sin. Safety in numbers.